Thanks for listening to Mike and Scott read a poem. This is a scheduling note. For the rest of 2014, Mike and Scott read a poem will be a once-a-month podcast instead of a once-a-week podcast. Same quality, just different speed. So if you're thinking about going into a cryogenic sleep, you can do it for the next 6 months. And then when you wake up, you will have all of those episodes at once, and you don't have to wait for any time. You could just listen to it all at once. So, at the tone, you're about to hear the introduction for our next episode of Mike and Scott Read a Poem. You're listening to Mike and Scott Read a Poem. This week, episode 25, Sonnet 43. Okay, I'm going to say something that's either true or false about the show. Then, Mike, whatever I say, I want you to say the opposite. So if I say something true, then you say something false.
All right.
Okay. Near the end of the episode, we are going to talk about Roger Rabbit. Okay, now you say something about the show.
All right, somewhere towards the middle of the episode, we will be talking about the adventures of Rin Tin Tin.
All right, so you are going to have to decide. You're going to have to find out by listening to the show which one is true and which one is false. But, I mean, if you know the show at all, first of all, Mike took way too long of a pause and sounded unsure of himself as he was saying his fact. So right away, you could tell he's lying. Secondly, there is no such thing as the adventures of Rin Tin Tin, I don't think.
Well, that's why we discussed it in the middle of this episode.
All right. Well, now see if you could figure out who's telling the truth and who's lying. Actually, that could be me the whole time lying, and we really do talk about the adventures of Tintin, and you're waiting for Roger Rabbit, and he never comes. But trust me, if you listen to the whole episode, we're going to talk about Roger Rabbit just a little bit, and Mike was lying. So there's your answer. This is episode 25, Sonnet 43, Mike and Scott read a poem. I wonder if there probably is mathematically a way to write any song in any time signature. You'll just have to have like lots of held quarter notes, like something that was a quarter note in one time has to be a dotted quarter note in another time, and you're just going to be like accents on different beats just to make sure that it lines up. So like you write the song in 4/4 and then you transpose it to 6/8, but you still have to mathematically have it sound the same.
That'd be hard.
I think it's possible, though. I've never thought of this before because
try this.
There's absolutely no reason to do it. People like to transpose music into... Well, you have to transpose it if you want to raise it up a key. But, like, okay, the clarinet is an instrument that's built in the key of F. Is that it? Or B flat. B flat, and you play an F scale. So it's built in the key of B flat. Whereas a violin is built in the key of C. So when you play a C on the violin and a C on the clarinet, those notes are going to clash. They're not going to sound the same.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Even they're both on the treble scale?
Yes, they have like just different keys that they were built in. So when a song is written for the violin and the clarinet has a part 2, the violin part will be written in one key, and the clarinet will be written in another key, just so that all the notes will line up.
I didn't know that.
I don't really know why.
I thought that, like if the director said, okay, everybody, give me a C.
Yeah.
If everybody plays a C, it sounds like basically like different octaves of the same note, doesn't it?
I don't think so. Because...
I had no idea.
Because if you say, tuba, give me a B flat, then on the clarinet, you're supposed to play a C. It's something like that. Or you're supposed to play an F, excuse me. It's been too long since I've been in band, but when your conductor was warming you guys up, he would say, all right, you play the trumpet or the tuba?
Mm-hmm. And both.
Both, okay. He would point to each section and say, okay, you play clarinets now, give me a B flat. Okay, good. Tuba, give me a C. I don't know which one is which, but yeah, he tells you what to play.
Still learning.
Yeah, I almost want to look that up so that we get the facts straight. But it's, I don't know, it's just something like that. Trust me. If you know music, you already know, so you don't want to hear me explain it. If you don't know music, you're really not going to understand even when I just read it off of, the internet, the exact. So just trust me that it's something like that.
And there's also the idea that you yourself are pretty knowledgeable about music.
Because I was in band.
You're more trustworthy than me.
Well, you were in band too, but I guess you weren't paying attention. All right.
I wasn't. I really sucked at looking at a scale and knowing what
were the sharps and flats.
No, I could figure those out. Those are easy because it's right on the line. But it's
No, I thought you meant like if I call out, hey, play an F scale, you know that you have to start at F, but then you're like, oh, which ones are the sharps and which ones are the flats?
Oh, yeah, that was really hard too. That was like the advanced kids. They all knew that stuff. Basically the clarinet, the French hornists.
So you're saying that the majority of people in the band didn't know how to do that, or...
I honestly think a majority did not know how to do that, yeah.
Was your band any good?
Yeah, we were pretty good. We won a couple of, little mini tournaments and stuff. We were a good band.
We were a really good band.
Although I made it into honor band a bunch of times.
In what, the district or your school?
Orange, so this district.
Okay, district.
But, man, the people at honor band are next level, man.
They bring it up a notch.
Like a couple notches. So I was playing tuba one year, and I thought I was just... I have a natural embouchure, so I was really good at tuba. I was like first chair my freshman year. Made it to honor band, and I was all pumped up thinking I was going to be first chair honor band. I get there. There's this guy who's like the same age. His dad is a tubist for like some Philharmonic orchestra. He was really good. He was like professional good.
Yep.
Like we went in there and I was like, hey, check out what I can do. Boom, 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 boom. And he's like, oh yeah? Here's Flight of the Bumblebee on tuba.
Next level. You don't know what's out there. That was a strong lesson and that's when you stopped having dreams about being in the Philharmonic.
That's the day my dreams got shattered.
I once won a local tennis tournament. And so then
really?
I got to play in a bigger tennis tournament that was held at UCLA. Like, legitimate tournaments are held at UCLA. I think there's one called the Mercedes-Benz Open. Anyway, so I get out there on the court, and my first opponent there's his parents over there cheering him on. Okay, cool. And then that guy over there, that's his tennis coach. Like his private
You didn't have a
coach? No, I won a local tournament that was just down at the park. And I'm like,
oh man!
What? And then
he had his own trainer and everything.
There's like 6 guys there,
giving him a massage in between sets.
He pulled out of his bag a racket that had 2 handles. I'd never seen such a thing. There was something for you to hold on your right hand and on your left hand. And when he hit the ball with his forehand, he only used one hand. So, but on his backhand, he used both of them. So he had a 2-handed backhand.
Wow.
Which most people have a 2-handed backhand, but both of your hands are on one.
I'm just trying to imagine what this racket looks like. Is it like a T shape? Like one, the handle comes off and then the other handle comes off
no, it's
like perpendicular.
It's like a U. So it's a parabola.
Oh, okay.
And then on the vertex a tennis racket grows out of it.
That seems like cheating. I don't know why. Like, there should be baseball bats that just have 2 handles.
I would think it really ruins your torque. You're not going to be able to swing through the zone as fast.
Yeah, but you might never miss.
Well, if the other side of the baseball bat was a tennis racket with strings so strong that a 90-mile-an-hour fastball isn't going to break it.
What if, like, I mean, how do they decide if I'm just a local ref and I get a gig to do this UCLA tournament just on the weekend just to pay some extra bills?
Oh, I'm late. There's got to be some work. He's like calling every local sports venue like, listen, I'm a little short this month. Do you have any tournaments coming up?
There's this thing at UCLA. So you get there, you get in your little chair with the umbrella on it, and this kid pulls out the double-handed racket.
And you're going through the rule book. Does it say anything?
Yeah, you're like, oh god. Why me? Yeah, so that's how I imagine the double-handed racket just kind of has never been questioned. It's because people just don't bother.
So needless to say, I was very intimidated by this kid with 2 handles on his racket. All right, so last week was Sonnet 42. 10 sonnets from last week is going to be Sonnet 52, which we have decided is the CC Sabathia sonnet. I hope that there's some sort of line in that sonnet that's about like starting, or like just CC Sabathia is known for pitching a lot of innings. Like you could just start him all the time and he'll go deep into the game.
So maybe that sonnet will be about stamina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or this love is built for a long time. Something like that. Just like CC Sabathia. This love is built for a long time.
Just like CC Sabathia.
Yeah.
My love for you is like CC Sabathia. All right, so this week's sonnet is brought to us by Malibu, the Gladiator Malibu, who's Deron McBee.
All right.
He was active in the debut season of the Gladiators and has recently reprised his role as Malibu in Tosh.0.
Oh, wow. Very interesting. I was also going to bring up, there is they rebooted American Gladiators a few years ago, and I don't think it lasted more than a season, but...
it was still amazing, man.
That was great.
I was actually watching some of those, the newer season. Man, like, they brought in a couple of new obstacles. Like, there's this huge wall. One of those climbing walls. There's this wall, man!
Yeah, I was just waiting for that. Okay.
There's this huge
wall. You gave me a big space to react to just the word wall. I mean, you know I like Pink Floyd, but...
Get this. A wall.
Wall, huh?
No, it's like, I think they had a big wall, a climbing wall at the end of the Aggro Crag.
Yeah, it was slanted, I believe.
Is it like, is behind you?
No, that would be very difficult. No, it was it was just like crawling up a slide.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's weak. Weak.
I think it was...
No, the one in the Gladiators, though, is like straight vertical. It's pretty tall, too.
Well, we got to look that up. That'll be our first question. The end of... What is that game called? Oh, Guts. Okay. Aggro Crag.
I don't know. You seem to me like... I just wouldn't be surprised if you were like, oh, I have a piece of the Aggro Crag.
Funny you should bring that up. So maybe sometime we'll try to get Brandy Posey. Brandy Posey is a comedian, and she has a story about she really wanted a piece of the Aggro Crag, really bad. So she would just ask people wherever she went. The
dreams of a 12-year-old.
And finally, she met somebody who was on the show Guts, and who won a piece of the Aggro Crag. And so Brandy asked, "May I see the piece of Aggro Crag? May I hold it?" And then she got this answer: "You don't actually get to take it home."
What?
That was just on the show that you...
No!
So I can't say whether or not that's true. If it's false, then go find Brandy Posey and tell her to stop spreading lies. And this week, on Mike and Scott Read a Poem, we will be analyzing Shakespeare's sonnet number 43.
Sonnet number 43.
And as always, if you have questions or comments about the show, send them to mnspoem@gmail.com. You could follow us on Twitter at the letter M. It's MNS Poem on Twitter, but it's the letter M, the letter N, then the letter S, and then just spell the word poem. You can do that.
Perfect.
And then you
got this.
You could follow us on Instagram, same name.
Instagram will be posting our show notes on a weekly basis.
Yes, what we have to write down. So far I have written down Guts, Nickelodeon, Aggro Crag. What have you written down?
I got guts written down.
All right, that's
That's
so
about it
circle
right now.
that. All right, and then put a +1 on top of the page. Okay?
+1.
So, and you've circled guts, right?
Yep.
All right, very good. So now, Sonnet 43. Mike and Scott, read a poem.
When most I wink, then do mine eyes best see, for all the day they view things unrespected. But when I sleep, in dreams they look on thee, and darkly bright are bright in dark directed. Then thou, whose shadow shadows doth make bright, how would thy shadows form happy show? Oh, to the clear day with thy much clearer light, when to unseeing eyes thy shade shines so. How would, I say, mine eyes be blessed made by looking on thee in the living day, when in dead night thy fair imperfect shade through heavy sleep on sightless eyes doth stay. All days are nights to see till I see thee, and nights bring days when dreams do show thee me. Okay, he's daydreaming and night dreaming.
Here's my prediction. There's going to be a couple things on here that we're not going to be able to completely understand, but we are going to understand the main theme of the poem. I think we're both just very close to being there anyway. But there's going to be, like, the word imperfect down there. I think we're going to debate that a little bit. Also,
Yeah.
does yours have in the middle, and how would thy shadows form happy show? It has the word form twice in a row.
Yes, and it also has shadows twice in the line before it.
Yeah. So I think that's clever because it's using it as a noun and then using it as a verb. Whose shadow, a shadow is a thing that belongs to you. Shadows, it's the act of shadowing something.
Oh, okay. I see.
Putting it into shade, I'm guessing.
Well, let's go from the top and
let's do
see what we can do. I'm feeling basically that he misses somebody, and some things keep reminding him of them, whether it's the lover or the fair youth. We'll probably or hopefully figure out.
Yeah.
But how about you?
I think it's about how when it's dark and I have to sleep, the image of you brings lightness, and I have to wait around all day to dream about you. Maybe we can't be together during the day, we can't be together in real life, but when I'm at home and it's dark and I'm thinking about you, that's when it's like you're there. Something like that. Let's see.
All right. So when most I wink, then do mine eyes best see. Right off the bat, that's really awesome. It's such a good way to put it. But I think he's saying when he's sleeping, his eyes see best.
They see the best thing because they don't have to see the real world anymore. They're going to be able to see the imagined vision of you. For all the day, they view things unrespected. Normally, I walk around and I don't care what I'm looking at. There's a rock, there's a house, there's a shoe, whatever. But when I sleep, in dreams, they look on thee. When I fall asleep, I'm thinking about you. That my eyes are looking at you now.
Okay. They is referring to his eyes, right?
Yeah. And darkly bright are bright in dark directed.
Darkly bright are bright and dark directed. So, darkly bright, maybe he's saying, even though my eyes are closed, I clearly see.
Darkly bright. I don't know if it has a deep meaning, like, I don't really have you, so it's kind of a dark feeling, but it's also a wonderful feeling because I'm thinking about you at all.
A little bit of a bittersweet type of a feel?
Yeah.
Like darkly bright?
Yeah. You're definitely looking for the silver lining. If you're really in love with somebody and you can't be with them, but you at least like thinking about them, it's kind of torture when you think about them, but still it's your happiness right now to think about this person.
Nice. Okay.
Then thou whose shadow shadows doth make bright.
Okay, so your shadow makes other shadows bright. Then thou whose shadow shadows doth make bright.
It sounds like other shadows are making your shadow bright. By
Oh, yeah, it could go both ways. You're right. Then thou whose shadow
shadows doth make bright. There's no apostrophe on the S, so it is plural. It's just plural. It's shadows plural.
Yeah. Also, I think just in the way that they spoke in the day,
Yeah.
you could also see it. Then thou whose shadow shadows doth make bright. Like your shadow makes shadows bright.
Yeah, and I'm seeing it the other way around. That other shadows
I think-
make your shadow bright. But I see
Either
what you're
way,
saying.
what does it mean?
Like I must got point of order. It's the shadow. Yes. Well, yes. It does make more sense for your shadow, since you're the fair youth, and I think you're terrific. Your shadow would be so wonderful that it would make things bright. But if it was a hot day and I was in the shade for a reason, and your shadow came along and took away the shade, I'd be like, listen, fair youth, your shadow is making this shadow too bright. So would you please walk away? I need some shade.
It's all perspective, man.
Yes. Anyway, how would thy shadows form happy show to clear the day with thy much clearer light, when to unseeing eyes thy shade shines so. It sounds like you're opening up a line of vision to the bright world.
How would thy shadows form happy show?
How would it create a happy looking place?
Yeah, okay.
What it would do is to clear the day with thy much clearer light. Your light is better. It's like everybody else's house is lit by a light bulb from the 70s, and it's just not that bright. And here, this guy has those GE reveals. Remember those light bulbs? That was a nice light bulb. All right, and it's just a much better light. Feels a lot better, and that's what you're doing. When to unseeing eyes thy shade shines so.
Is shade here shade of a shadow, or like the shade of a shadow, or is it shade as in a lampshade, like your shade shines so, or maybe his, the lover's shadow is shining. What does he mean by a bright shadow?
Yeah, well, it's his dream. Who are we to judge? How would I say, mine eyes be blessed made by looking on thee in the living day? So this is where he's saying, I wish I could see you in real life.
Mm-hmm.
How blessed would I be if I got to look on you during the day?
Yeah.
When in dead night thy fair imperfect shade through heavy sleep on sightless eyes doth stay. So at night, why is it an imperfect shade now? This is where I'm wondering if imperfect means perfect, like inflammable. So would you look up imperfect? I'm sure it just is going to say not perfect.
There's actually a big Wikipedia page on the word imperfect.
Yeah? What do they?
Yeah.
What does it say?
The imperfect is a verb form found in various languages,
yeah,
which combines past tense and imperfective aspect.
Yeah, this is not the grammar term imperfect.
So, yeah, just the dictionary says having mistakes or problems, not perfect.
Yeah. So at night, I can't see you truly. It's just an imperfect shade of you. It's just a shadow. That's what my dreams of you are. So it's just like a shadow that I see through heavy sleep. So I'm very deeply asleep, and I have sightless eyes because they're closed because I'm dreaming right now. But that's where your imperfect shade stays, is right there on my unseeing eyes. All days are nights to see till I see thee. So during the day, that's when I feel like I'm looking at nothing real. Most people when they dream, that's when the crazy stuff happens. Me, When I dream, that's when the one thing that makes sense happens, and that's you. During the day, nothing makes sense.
Wow. That phrase is so great right there. All days are nights to see the... Wait, yeah. All days are nights to see till I see thee.
And nights, bright days, when dreams do show thee me.
Oh, wow.
So nighttime is daytime, and
Yep.
daytime is nighttime in the state I'm in.
I'm happiest when I'm dreaming about you.
Yeah. And you know what? We're still confused a little bit on some of those lines, but we definitely figured this one out. I say we just call that.
Yeah.
Why make the poor little guy suffer?
Just watch. We're like way off base.
This is a call to war. This is when Shakespeare said that they
The
must...
Shade represents his warhorse, named Shade.
Like, oh wow, there was a lot of history we didn't know about.
This sonnet has some of my favorite lines in any of the sonnets we've read up till here. I like when most I wink, then do mine eyes best see, and then all days are nights to see till I see thee.
You just really like sleeping. I think that's what you're responding to. The older you get, the more you like sleeping.
Yeah, I should write a sonnet to sleep. Shakespeare pretty much does that.
It sounds like you mean I should write a sonnet with the inspiration of sleep as my inspiration, but it
you could
also
also take
write
it
it to
like
sleep. Like this sonnet is going to be asleep when I'm done with it. And that's because I'm going to write it to not to death, but I'm going to write it till it loses its consciousness.
It could also mean I'm going to write this until I'm sleeping. It's so boring, maybe, that...
I am going to write
Puts
this
me to
novel
sleep.
until it becomes a thinking, feeling organism and then falls asleep. Once I have actually breathed literal life into these pages and the pages start walking around on the desk.
After the initial excitement...
Oh, sure, it's going to be great. There's going to be a
The
party.
book's initial excitement calms down. After the book's adrenaline rush...
It gets a little tuckered out.
Yeah, that's when you'll be happy and satisfied.
Yeah, and then I hum in a little song. I kind of pet the binding a little bit. And then I close the book and I say, shh, I'll see you tomorrow.
I'm imagining like a nice red velvet covered book.
Yeah, I want to write a book to sleep every single night. That's when you know you're writing a good novel. When you write it to sleep every single night. For all you, I'm gonna teach classes on how to write a novel, and that'll be the only advice I give them. You'll know that the novel's coming along when every single night you're able to write that novel to sleep. All right, so I say we have this sonnet.
Should we just give it a once more?
If you want, I mean the sonnet's sleeping right now, so you really want to wake it up?
Yeah, I want to do quatrain by quatrain at a time instead of line by line.
All right.
And just high touch points.
All right, high fives all the way through. When most I wink, then do my eyes best see. I think it's exactly what you were saying. Wink is sleeping. For all the day they view things unrespected.
So they view things that just suck.
Yeah. Yeah, you've been big on that word lately.
Have I?
You must have been... Who's a character that uses the word suck a lot? I was going to say like Full House, but I don't think they ever did.
Is it a 90s word?
That's how I think of that word as a 90s
I think
word.
it is a 90s word.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's like bodacious.
Yeah, but not that bad.
From the...
Oh, no.
But what's that? Is that 60s?
You know what? I think once you and I looked up cowabunga.
Cowabunga.
Yeah, I forget
That's
what it
90s
was.
or 80s for sure.
Yeah, but it was originally some word, I don't know if it was from Hawaii, and it's like KWA, it's some word that's not quite that, and then it later became cowabunga. But we don't have to look it up again. It's another one of those things. Trust me.
That'll be one of the trivia questions.
No, I think it's already been a trivia question. Maybe
What?
not on an episode that's aired, but like one of our first test runs. I think we did
Really?
cowabunga. Okay,
Oh,
well,
wow.
we're going to have repeats.
You know me and my memory.
I do. So we're going to look up Cowabunga also,
Okay.
which may or may not have been in an earlier episode that you've heard. It definitely happened, but I don't know when. But we're still going on Sonnet 43? Yeah, we're doing a read-through.
Yeah.
Okay. But when I sleep, in dreams they look on thee, and darkly bright are bright in dark directed.
This is part of the reason why I kind of wanted to reread through is because the idea that the daytime is night and the nighttime is day to him.
Yeah, because of
I kind of want to apply that to what we've
right.
read already.
So darkly bright are bright in dark directed. So all the dark shadows in sleep that normally happens in the middle of the night, this brightness is directed to my eyes. The brightness is you.
I agree.
Okay. And then thou, whose shadows doth make bright. I think you're right that your shadow makes these shadows bright. I just think he messed up. I think Shakespeare messed up here, but I think your interpretation is the correct one.
A lot of times he has to say things strangely just to fit them into the meter, though.
But he could have put the S on the first word. I don't know. It could have been done.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be a trivia question. Can we fix that for him? All right. How would thy shadows form? How would thy shadows form? Which I think is a way of saying how would your shadow form happy show to clear day with thy much clearer light? What form would you take to make this happen? I don't know, that's sloppy.
Okay, I think what he's saying is, like, how does your shadow make the nighttime more clear than the daytime?
He's just asking, like, how does it do it?
Yeah.
It's such a wonder when to unseeing eyes thy shade shines so. So the person that's sleeping, it's this whole beautiful image that's going on. How do you do it? I'm giving you the credit. This has nothing to do with my imagination. This is you, the either fair youth or somebody else now, that makes my dreams this way.
Yeah, because of pure beauty and love. So we're deep in dream here still. Here.
We're in REM at this point. That's the only level of sleep that I know. Do you know another one?
No, I just rapid eye movement. That's it.
All right, I'm going to write down REM and other states. It's like every time basketball comes up and you just say something about LeBron James, eventually somebody's going to say, do you know other basketball players besides LeBron James? Well, in this case, every time sleep states comes up, I only talk about REM. I want to know the other ones.
Yeah, everybody knows REM nowadays.
Everybody knows it. Very popular. Very popular sleep state.
It must have been on The Simpsons somewhere. Because everyone knows about REM.
I think REM has a good press agent. Or like media relations guy. PR. Yeah. REM.
Good PR team.
Yeah. REM knows how to get
it's
out
the
there.
most expensive PR team, though.
But
it's not cheap.
Look what he's got out of it. Or she. I don't know if REM is a male or female. Anyway,
does know
it's definitely been worth it because those other sleep states, they don't make anything. They're like doing open mics. All right, so to finish this sonnet off, how would, I say, mine eyes be blessed made by looking on thee in the living day?
Ah, okay, so there's the contrast between I see you in my dreams all the time, and it's amazing and it's beautiful, and anybody else's dreams that you show up in, you make them beautiful. And how amazing would it be if I was able to see you in real day?
But so how would I be blessed made? How would I be blessed made when in dead night thy fair imperfect shade? I wonder if he's saying it wouldn't be good to see you. Just to throw a little wrench in there. Could he be saying, I don't even want to see you during the day because it's in dead night.
I don't know, because in the next two lines, it sounds like he's saying it. He feels like it's kind of crummy that he can only see them in his dreams. It's in perfect shade.
Okay.
Maybe that's what he means by imperfect shade.
Yeah. So it would be a blessing if I could see you in real life because
in the daytime.
At night, I'm just seeing imaginations of you.
Yeah. Through heavy sleep on sightless eyes doth stay.
I'm in deep
Yeah,
sleep.
I'm sightless eyes. I think it means that my eyes are never open when I'm seeing you. They're always closed.
And then the couplet at the end, all days or nights. We nailed the couplet the first time.
The couplet for me brought this all together. I was fairly confident before that last read through, and now I'm super confident.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to look up that answer for you. Hopefully it'll be a really quick segment, and then we'll get on to the trivia questions, which are going to be Guts, Cowabunga, and REM and other stories. And then maybe I should contact Brandy Posey at some point and ask her if that was a true story she told about Guts, like, just between you and me and listeners of Mike and Scott Read a Poem. Were you telling the truth? Okay, so
right.
We're going to look up the answer to Sonnet 43 when we come back on Mike and Scott Read a Poem. We're back on Mike and Scott Read a Poem. Mike, grading analogy? I mean, we already know what grade we're getting, so what grading analogy do you want to do?
I'll give this one 5 sleeping books out of 5 sleeping books.
Well, now you've forced my hand. Now I'm going to want to put in that riff that we did about writing a book to sleep.
Oh, yeah, that needs to go in.
Okay, it felt like a really long riff. I was, at this point, I don't remember what it's connected to. Anyway, so I guess it's going in the show.
Perfect. So points that I saw that maybe we didn't really understand. The contrast between shadow and human form is kind of a big theme here. And I guess it's a big reference to Plato's cave. I don't know if it's exactly Plato's cave, but it's that philosophical idea that the shadows that we see are only cast after images of a real form which we can't observe. So I think a lot of what he's saying when he's saying that he's seeing these shadows and shades at night when he's dreaming is that, and the imperfect shade when he says, when in dead night thy fair imperfect shade through heavy sleep on sightless eyes doth stay. He's kind of referring to the fact that all he gets to see is the shadow of the real you.
Which, if Shakespeare is doing that, as Shakespeare's-sonnets.com suggests, then he really is disagreeing with Plato at the same time, because Plato says that our whole lives we're just looking at shadows of the world. Like we are not living in we can't really comprehend the real world. We're just seeing shadows of it. Whereas Shakespeare is saying, when I see you in real life, that's real, but I'm only seeing you in dreams. But Shakespeare's saying that he does live in the real world. So he is denying Plato by invoking Plato, if indeed he's invoking Plato.
At all.
It is not very common that I get to put all those words together and make sense, but it happened. Invoking Plato. That feels good when you have a day where you get to say that.
Yeah, I'm going to use that at some time in the week. Excuse me. Allow me to invoke Plato here.
I wasn't planning to do this, but I must invoke Plato at the moment. When I'm looking in the mirror in the morning, washing my face, I'm just going to look right into my eyes and say, you're going to invoke Plato today. You're going to casually and pertinently invoke Plato.
Yeah, I want. There should be a note on your door that just says "invoke Plato."
It'll be right on the door jamb of my apartment. So every time I leave my apartment, it's like a football team. I'm gonna pat the sticky note that's on my door jamb. Boom! Invoke Plato. I just kind of give it a smack every morning on my way out. And then I always just try to gear conversations so that at some point, boom, I'm invoking Plato.
Eventually your friends are like, oh, here he goes with the Plato again.
Have you noticed how often he's been invoking Plato?
It becomes a totally normal word.
He's one of those guys that,
he's constantly invoking.
He's an invoker. Nobody invokes as often. It started with just Plato. Then he just started invoking everything left and right.
Oh man, you're such an invoker.
Classic invoker.
It'll become a bad word someday. It'll be bleeped out in movies in 2050.
Yeah, they have a more politically correct definition.
All right, so yeah, 5 sleeping books here.
Okay, so we did out of 5 sleeping books. So we did pretty much perfect. All these other things, this whole Plato's Cave, that's kind of just a... I'm not taking it seriously. It's not in...
It's just a thing.
It's not in the direct paraphrase that's on SparkNotes. The direct paraphrase, I don't know, there might have been little tweaks that could have ironed out what we were saying, but I'm just going to say we got it.
Nice. This is a great sonnet. What do you think about this one?
Oh, I liked it, yeah.
Yeah, me too. This might be my favorite sonnet so far.
The only thing, yes, I will add, you brought it up maybe during the break before we came back on, is that Shakespeare's Dash Sonnets says he's talking about how wonderful it is, or it may sound like he's talking about how wonderful it is at night because you brighten up the night, but really it's also right after he lost a mistress and the fair youth. He's in a bad time right now, so it's not really that great when your line is... I think even though he says deep sleep, I think it's got to be restless. And if you don't enjoy the daytime, that's the worst part of the day to not enjoy, is the daytime.
So that's what's kind of beautiful about this sonnet too, is that he can say these words and it can be interpreted as oh, he's, you know, he's really happy to see this person in his dreams. That this person makes his dreams brighter and more beautiful. But at the same time, it can also mean I miss you in the daytime, and the nighttime, all I get to do is dream about you, and you make me miss you more.
Yeah, it seems like if you have this wonderful thing, like, hey, I've been dreaming about you, it just seems like a positive thing. We always think of that as positive, but when that's all you're doing, that's not. It's better to wake up and really not remember your dreams. That's, I think, when you've had your best sleep.
Yeah, so I think depending on what frame of mind you're in, or not frame of mind, but what perspective you're taking when you read through Sonnet 43, I think it can be interpreted a couple different ways, but they both kind of mean the same thing, is that he misses somebody, and they're basically in his dreams, whether they're haunting his dreams or gracing his dreams. That's kind of yours to think.
Say I had a relationship with Emily where I read her sonnets. That's not the kind of relationship we have. And then say she was on a trip, or I was on some business trip, all my business trips that I take, and I'm far away from her. I could read her this sonnet, and she knows that I'm interpreting it as, you know, I miss you, here I am, not with you, but I'm thinking about, I see you in my dreams. It would be kind of sweet because, you know, hey, I'm coming back in a couple of weeks, so this is just a sweet thing to read right now. If I'm calling up an ex-girlfriend and I'm reading this, then that's creepy, because it's like, man, you cannot get over this. Yeah. You're up all night thinking about me? What is the matter with you? All right, so those are the two interpretations: current girlfriend, ex-girlfriend. And that's how to read this sonnet. So, all right, 5 sleeping books. It's like something out of Beauty and the Beast, but all the books by boring authors are asleep, and then all the Michael Crichton books are running around.
Yeah, and then they get tuckered out and fall asleep because Michael Crichton wrote them to sleep.
He writes his books to sleep. That guy is so good. Writes those books to sleep. The late, great Michael Crichton.
I like how we invoked Crichton.
There he goes, invoking again. So we're going to come back with our trivia answers. Guts, Nickelodeon, Aggro Crag. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe the internet will tell us if they actually got to keep a piece of the crag. But I want to just look at the wall. Was it straight up, or was it kind of slanted? We're going to look up the origin of Cowabunga. We're going to look up other dream states besides REM. Also, we don't have to talk about it, but I just wanted to point out that Elizabeth Barrett Browning had another Sonnet 43. You know what? I think we are going to look over it, because I think it might be really famous. And then also Rufus Wainwright recorded a song just called Sonnet 43, where I think the lyrics might just be the sonnet, and then he plays music to it. So maybe I'll look that up.
The sonnet?
Too. Yes, this very sonnet.
Really?
Yep. So
this is a good one.
We are going to look that up and give you the answers when we come back on Mike and Scott Read a Poem. We're back on Mike and Scott Read a Poem. Mike, you have an answer for us?
Yeah, so Nickelodeon's Guts show, they're in the Super Aggro Crag, which was the international version. There was a climb at the end, a wall climb, but it was almost not even a wall. It might have been like a
shoebox.
I don't know, a shoebox climb.
Most people would do more of a jump, but people on Guts, they were required to climb over the shoebox. It was whoever couldn't interpret those instructions correctly won.
Part of the aggro crag is being able to think on your toes.
To follow
so they should have had a
directions.
mental aspect. Yeah. But yeah, no, there's a tiny climb. It's maybe like 3 little footings, and then you're up at the very top.
All right.
But it doesn't look very hard. I think I could destroy the aggro crag and bring home my family a piece.
Well, if you can. Did you get an answer on that?
I didn't want to investigate too far.
All right,
but it
good.
did look like, so that we can see if your friend is willing to come forth on the validity
She pleads
of
the fifth. I refuse. I got an email from her lawyer. Whoa.
No, but there did look like there was a couple of photos of people who had pieces of aggro crag like in their living room where they were holding them, but they easily could have been fabricated and made for a Halloween costume, which it looks like most of them are that.
Yeah, this is not some very difficult piece of... Well, I couldn't make one, but I'm sure many people could make their own little aggro crag.
That's a really cool Halloween costume, too. I kind of want to do that this year.
Good to them.
Did you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go Cowabunga.
All right.
As I remembered it as I was reading, it was possibly from a Native American word or saying, which is Kwabungu. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's 2 words, K-W-A, second word, B-U-N-G-U. And then on Howdy Doody, there was a character named Chief Thunderthud, and he would say something closer to Cowabunga. And then in the 50s and 60s, that's when surfers started to use it. And in 1965, there was a Peanuts cartoon where Snoopy said it. And then, of course, later...
That's rad. I didn't know there was such history on Cowabunga.
Yeah, so then later, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Bart Simpson.
Any reference on what it actually means?
It didn't say on Wikipedia.
I think it's kind of similar to like, let's do this.
Yeah, that's perfect definition. All right. So what else did you have?
All right, so other interesting sleep cycles. This all started because we were saying, everybody knows about REM sleep. You want to be able to kind of reference another stage of sleep.
Yeah. In fact, I'm going to do that as soon as I learn this. I'm going to ask somebody, hey, what's your favorite stage of sleep? And they're going to say REM. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Set them up.
So like Titanic's your favorite movie, I'm assuming? All right, go ahead.
So there's a stage of sleep. There's 4 stages prior to REM. 1, 2, and 3 or whatever. But the 4th stage is somewhat interesting. It's called delta sleep. Okay. It's because that's when the delta waves start coming around. It lasts for about 30 minutes. And interestingly, that's when most bedwetting and sleepwalking occurs.
Well, so you know what to avoid if you're having problems. Just don't have delta sleep. I don't know what else to tell you. I told you not to have delta sleep.
Keep those delta waves down.
Yeah.
Keep them as beta waves.
Well, I listened to Rufus Wainwright play his song, Sonnet 43. I didn't actually listen all the way through because you seemed impatient, so I wanted to start the show again. But I'm definitely going to finish listening to it later. It's, I don't want to say discordant, but it doesn't have some sort of catchy melody that you're going to be singing in the shower.
Okay.
But it is, I might describe it as devastatingly beautiful.
Really?
He is very good at singing, and the piano is cool. It's very the I don't know if I heard the album version, if it's on an album. I was just watching the audio. It had the lyrics up on the screen on the YouTube video, and I was listening to the song.
Yeah.
And it sounded like it even could have been live, so I'm not sure if that was the album version or not. But I really enjoyed it. Listeners, you may enjoy it as well, but you may not. I don't know your taste. But here's one thing I think we all will enjoy, and that is Elizabeth Barrett Browning's Sonnet 43. You're going to recognize the first line, and it's going to make you reframe your life just a little bit. You're going to have to... You'll see what I mean, but
you're going to put a seatbelt on for this.
You're going to have to fill in the gaps, because you're about to gain knowledge of something that you never even realized you were lacking that knowledge, per se. But as soon as you hear me read the first line, you're going to go, okay, I know now. So are you ready to hear Sonnet 43 by Elizabeth Barrett Browning?
Yeah, I got my helmet on.
Here we go. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depth and breadth and height my soul can reach. When feeling out of sight for the ends of being and ideal grace, I love thee to the level of every day's most quiet need, by sun and candlelight. I love thee freely as men strive for right. I love thee purely as they turn from praise. I love thee with the passion put to use in my old griefs, and with my childhood's faith. I love thee with the love I seem to lose with my lost saints. I love thee with the breath, smiles, tears of all my life, and, if God choose, I shall but love thee better after death.
Wow.
So now we know where Roger Rabbit got it.
Is that where it was in? It was in Roger Rabbit?
Well, it's in other places too. It's just such a famous line. But Roger Rabbit's version of this poem goes, how do I love thee? Let me count the ways. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. And he starts jumping around the apartment, and Eddie gets very angry at him. Very angry.
Eddie.
He did not have a lot of patience for him.
Wow, so it looks like Shakespeare lost out on the Sonnet 43 war.
Yes, you're right.
To both Rufus Wainwright and Elizabeth.
He came in third. He came in third. Wow.
Now we're on a roll here. I gotta write a Sonnet 43.
Yeah, I mean,
this is my only chance to beat Shakespeare.
Yeah, you realize that he's vulnerable at this point. But still, I think the best you're going to come in is third. I don't think you're going to top Rufus or Elizabeth. So yeah. I would just wait for another sonnet that we don't think is very good and then try to top him there.
Okay, that's the number we'll go with.
But you know who we're never going to top? Our audience. I mean, they are just the top. And I love them so much. I'm just so happy that they are our audience. Don't you feel that way?
Yeah, it's almost like it's not real.
I'm going with the more popular sonnet on this one. I love this audience so in so many different ways. I can't even count them. But you know what also? I mean, so I'm going to love them for every moment and every second, every word that we ever say on this podcast. But you and I both know that one day we're not going to have this podcast anymore. You know, we're going to have a last episode one of these days, and then that's going to be it. But you know what's going to happen then?
What's that?
I'm going to love the audience even more.
Beautiful.
Just a friendly message of love from all of us here at Mike and Scott Read a Poem.